So, so my nose is clogged. My nose is clogged. I can't even speak anymore. All right, so this one, let's start with that quick. It's a negative plus a negative, right? So I have a bunch of negatives. A bunch of negatives over here. And I can't make zero pairs because they're the same. They're both negatives, right? So I know my answer is going to be negative, right? Remember, don't confuse this with multiplication where a negative times a negative is positive. Here I'm adding, I'm joining together these two groups. So I know my answer is going to be negative, so let me just join these two groups. 16 goes 156, so I'm going to have a bunch of negatives, in this case, negative 56. Any situation that results in the value of 0. So if I put $38 in the bank account and I spend 45, would that mean I have $0? No, so that's garbage. I gain 20 yards, so pretend you're walking forward 20 yards and then you lose 15 yards. I walk back 15 and then I walk back 5. Does that equal to 20? Would I be at 0 again? So imagine here's 0. You walk all the way to 20. And then you walk 15 back, which would be at 5, put you at 5, and you walk 5 more. Guess what? You'll be back at 0 again. So this one works. Negative 7, here's 0. I'm all the way down here at negative 7. And if I go up 8, would I be at 0? No, I would be in the positive area. So that's also not true. Paying rent, so let's say I paid my landlord $650. And then I deposit a check from the school from what I worked of $845. Would that give me a 0 balance in my account? No, it wouldn't. So this is also out. So let's say I ate 2,200 calories. I don't know, what's that? 2 Big Macs, soda, which we shouldn't be eating anyway. So let's say you ate something, or throughout the day you ate 2,200 calories. You spent 750 by running, which is plausible. 10 minus 5 is 5, 11 minus 7. So I'm still left with 1,450 calories. But then I went swimming. And swimming takes a lot of calories. It's good exercise. Would that put me back at 0? Yes, it would. So the final answer would be this one. This one, and those two situations would you back at 0. Put the following integers in order from least to greatest. Okay, so again, if this is 0, somewhere here would be 8. Negative 1, negative 2, this would be negative 3. And you start counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Oh, 12 is positive, so that's over here. 12, 15, 20, negative 20, negative 23, negative 45, blah, blah. Negative 45 is all the way somewhere over here. Remember, on a number line, the number to the right is always bigger. Okay, so who's bigger, negative 45 or negative 23? Who has a higher value? Negative 23 is greater than negative 45. Who is greater, 12 or 8? 12. Who is greater, 8 or 0? 8. Who is greater, 0, negative 3? 0. So the number on the right is always the bigger one. Okay, so if you ever confuse, put two numbers on the number line. So let's just pick negative 23 and negative 45. Well, if this is 0, negative 23 would be somewhere over here. Negative 45 would be somewhere over here. Who has the greater value? The number on the right. Okay. Which 9 is greater than which sum? Well, you gotta figure out the sums now first. Negative plus positive. In this case, I'm gonna have a negative answer, right? If I make 0 pairs, I'm gonna have a bunch of negatives left over. Negative 5. Negative 3 minus negative 10. Let me just do that over here. Let me change that. A lot of you don't like changing it. You should. It makes life easier. So I have two negatives being added, so I know my answer is just going to be a negative number. Negative 3 plus negative 10 is negative 13. 23 minus 31, I'm going to change it. Okay, so I have 0 pairs that I can make, but I'm going to have a bunch of negative leftovers. How many? Negative 8 left over. And finally, so this is negative 8. And negative 13 minus negative 3 becomes negative 13 plus 3. 0 pairs. I'm going to have a lot of negatives left over. In this case, negative 10. So with negative 9 is greater than which of these 4 sums? Well, do yourself a favor. Put them on the number line. So let's make 0 over here Negative 5 would be somewhere right here. Negative 13 would be somewhere over here. Negative 8 would be somewhere over here. And negative 10 would be somewhere over here. Where would negative 9 be? So let me change colors and put negative 9 right about here, right before negative 10. So I'm asking you, the question here is negative 9 is greater than which of these numbers? Well, let me put 5 over here and 10. Is negative 9 greater than 10? No. Is negative 9 greater than 5? Also no. Is negative 9 greater than 0? No. Do you see something happening? Negative 9 is not going to be greater than anybody who's on the right side. So it's not greater than negative 5. It's not greater than negative 8. But anybody who is on the left side of negative 9 is greater than. So is negative 9 greater than negative 10? Yes. So this one's a yes. Is negative 9 greater than negative 13? Also a yes. So this and this, negative 9 was greater than. Okay? Use your visuals. Okay, they're there for a purpose. 5. What integers, when multiplied, gives you a negative product? Well, a negative times a positive equals a negative, right? What else gives you a negative? Well, a positive times a negative also gives you a negative answer. Is there anything else? Nope. Find the difference. Well, find the difference. I'm going to do this. Change my subtraction to this. And negative 16, which is negative, is going to become positive now. 0 pairs, right? I've got a bunch of negatives and a bunch of positives. I can make some 0 pairs. I'm going to have what left over? I'm going to have more negative left over. How many left over? Well, that's the difference between 23 and 16, which is 7. Which of these expression is the least value? Okay, so the furthest away from 0 to the left, right? Or closest to 0 on the right. It depends if it's positive or negative, actually. Well, let's see what kind of answers we get. So negative 3 minus 7, I'm going to change that to this. So it's a negative plus a negative, so it's going to be negative. No 0 pairs here, so I'm just going to pile everybody together. I get negative 10. 12 plus negative 21. I can make 0 pairs here. And after I make 0 pairs, I'm going to have a bunch of negative left. How many negatives? Negative 9, so it's the difference between 12 and 21. 17 plus negative 56. A lot of 0 pairs. 17 0 pairs, actually. And then I'm going to have negative left over, so I know my answer is negative sign. It's going to be 56 minus 17. It's 9. 4 minus 1 is 39. So I'm going to have 39 negative numbers left over. And finally on this one, negative 17 plus 15. I can make a lot of 0 pairs, right? And I know my answer is going to be negative because I'm going to have how many 0 pairs left? How many negative numbers left? 2. Okay, so let's see. We're looking at negative 10, negative 9, negative 30. They're all negative. So, okay, that makes life a little bit easier. So if they're all negative and I put them on a number line, this is negative 2, right? Somewhere close. And then it would be, so let me put a check. Negative 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can make a negative 9 over here. Check. Negative 10 is going to come right after it. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 25, 30, 39. So, with negatives, the more you go this direction, the least value you will have. So what's the smallest, the least value of all these 4 numbers? Negative 39, negative 10, negative 9, negative 2. This guy right here. Forget that decimal over there. It's this guy. That's the smallest number. So the answer to this would be this guy right here. The further you are on the left side of 0, the less value you will have. So think about it. Tony here owes me $2. That's why he's negative 2. Gabriella here owes me $9. Sam owes me $10. That's why he's at negative 10. And then here, John owes me negative $39. That's why he's represented with negative 39. So out of these 4 people, who is in the worst position? This guy. He's the poorest among all 4 of them. Right? So the further out you are that way, on the left side of 0, the less value you have. 8. It's going to be a long video. Sam, so you want to write the situation as a sum. So it's going to be plus, plus something, plus something, plus something, plus something, depending on the terms you have here. So Sam won $5 in a lotto game. So what would I start with? Positive 5 or negative 5? Well, winning usually has a positive connotation, so that's positive 5. Plus, he lost $12 in the bet. Uh-oh. Well, losing becomes, and that's how I represent losing $12 as minus 12. Plus, he lost another $23. So I'm going to represent that as negative 23. Is there more situations? No, so I don't need this plus sign. So here is that situation as a sum, right? And that's it. Write it as a decimal. So to write something as a decimal, to write a fraction as a decimal, we divide. So 7 goes inside, 18 out. Doesn't go in, add a decimal, add a 0. 17 goes to 18, 70, 18, no, 18 goes to 73 times. It's going to be 54. Subtract. 10 minus 4 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring the 0 down. 18 goes into 160. I have no idea. 8 times 8 is 64. 140. That sounds about right. 64. Carry the 6. And 144. Subtract. I'm going to have 6. Borrow, but whatever. I'm going to have 16 left over. Let's bring a 0 down. Opa. It's 160 again. So I know it's going to be 8. 144. I'm going to repeat 16 if I add another 0. So you know that I get the same thing repeated over and over and over again. So 0.38888 forever and ever. And we can just write it like this with a bar notation. Divide. It's a negative divided by a negative. So first of all, take care of your sign. That's going to give you a positive. And the rest is just 45 divided by 9, which is 5. 11, evaluate the expression. So a lot of you did this not too well. So let's take care of this slowly. So negative 3 to the second power. Let's just take that apart. It's negative 3 times negative 3. Yeah? I know a negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 3 is a 9. So that becomes a 9. Minus 6, and again, I'm going to put a dot here because you might forget that they're being multiplied. So what comes first? Subtraction or multiplication? Well, the multiplication comes first, and I'm going to take care of this. So the 9, the subtraction sign is going to wait a little bit, and let's multiply 6 times, and again, let me put it like this. So it's positive 6 times negative 8. Positive times a negative is a negative. And 6 times 8 is 48. Let me put that in parentheses. Okay, so now all we have left over is subtraction, and we get 9. And this is going to be changed to a plus, and that's going to be changed to a positive, giving me 57. 12. Which expression has the greatest value? Well, first of all, you got to do it, right? Negative times a positive is negative. 5 times 4 is 20. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 3 times positive times a negative is a negative. And 3 times 9 is our usual 27. Negative 56 divided by 7 is a negative, right? And then 56 divided by 7 is just simply 8. Which one is the greatest? So again, if you're not sure, put them on the number line. Identify 0, locate 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, just put a few numbers so that you know where they are. Over here, this would be negative 5, right? Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Start counting. 6, 7, 8. So I know negative 8 is over here. 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, just, 20. And a little bit more, negative 27. So you focus on these 4 numbers right here. Yeah? Which of these 4 numbers has the greatest value? So the number to the right is always greater. So between negative 8 and negative 12, who's bigger? Negative 8. So anytime you want to compare the number on the right, so out of these 4 numbers here, who's further out on the right side? Well, it's -8, so that means this guy here has the greatest value. Evaluate. Okay, so we have division and multiplication, left to right, right? Negative divided by negative is a positive. Let's take care of my signs. 45 divided by 9 is just 5. Times, that's 3, that's waiting for the quotient. And now I can multiply. Positive times the positive is 15. I wonder how I can't even speak. Find the temperature change. So from -23 to 45, so draw your thermometer. Here's 0. Over here somewhere is -23, and you're going all the way up to 45. Positive. So is this change a positive change? Is this change going to be a positive change or a negative change? Well, obviously it's a positive change because the temperature definitely got warmer, right? So how much of a positive change? So how do we find the change? So remember, start was -23. The change, I don't know. But the final temperature is 45. So what you wrote in your notebooks to find the change, in temperature, we're going to take the final temperature and going to subtract that from the starting temperature. Final is 45 minus, and what are we subtracting? The starting temperature was -23. We can change that to an addition problem. 45 plus the opposite of -23 is 23. And we got 45 plus 23, which is going to be 68. That makes sense. If you're on -23 and you have to go all the way up to 45, you have to take 68 steps, right? 68 units. There's 68 units between -23 and 45, which in this case positive because the temperature went up. 15. Okay, another one that wasn't too popular today. An airplane's flying. Here's your airplane right there. Okay, and it's going down every minute. Okay, it's going down 800 feet, so it's going to be 800 feet. So 1 minute passes, is at this level. Another minute passes, the airplane's at another 800 feet down. Another minute passes, 800 feet down, and so far and so far. So he's going to be somewhere down there. So what is the change? How much of a change happened here? Well, it's a negative change because he went down. So how far down has he gone after 5 minutes? Well, you can add 800. So it's -800, negative. You can add that 5 times. You can just multiply. And that gets you 4,000 feet. So from wherever he is, which I don't know, it doesn't matter, he dropped already 4,000 feet. And I know it's a drop because it's a minus. 16, Mark, I don't think you did this because you just did it. Mark had $340 in cash at a casino, great. And then he lost 48 5 times while playing, they should say, playing roulette, right? Roulette, that's, you know, you got to guess the number out of 33. It spins and spins and lands on a number. So he lost 48 5 times. So loss is negative, right? Times how many times? So 5 times he lost that. So let's find out what that is. Times 5 is 240. So 340 is that what he started with? And then I can write it like this, right? So there's definitely, this is just a subtraction problem. And he's left over with 100. Lucky him. Still has $100 to his name. 17. I parked at Clark Park. So again, it's a building. Find ground zero. So this is 0, ground floor. It's a building, and there's a parking at the bottom. So he's parked around here, 18 floors on the ground. And then he goes up 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. He goes up 40 floors. Imagine, and he's somewhere over here now. Oops, can't write that. So he's gonna go up 40 floors. So where is he now? Well, I know that from -18 from the garage at 18 floors under 0 to go to the ground floor, it's a distance of what? 18, right? So are you done going upstairs? No, you still have some left over. So 40 minus 18 is 22. So from 18 to the ground floor is 18 flights, and then how many more flights do I have to go up? 22. Right? So that puts me from the ground floor up on the 22nd floor. So now I'm on the 22nd floor. I'm going to go 9 floors down. Right? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So where am I now? Well, that's not that difficult. 29 minus 9. Which means that my friend works on the 13th floor. In the winter. Okay, I'm not too proud of this question. In the winter, silly question. So here's water, land, the Empire State, and the Empire State is 1,250 feet above ground. Me, I'm somewhere over here. And I am 80 feet below sea level, which means I'm negative 80. So how far apart am I from the top of the Empire State Building? Well, this is this distance right here. And let me see if I can change colors. I can. This distance right here from negative 80 to sea level, and then sea level to 1,250. So I know from the ground floor all the way up here, this equals, right, 1,250. Now from negative 80 to the sea level, so I'll go underwater, 80 feet down. So for me to go all the way up to the surface of the water to be here, I would have to travel 80 feet, right? So in this case, I need to add both distances. And I get that I am 1,330 feet apart from the top of the Empire State. So imagine if I had to walk from wherever I am underwater all the way to the top of the Empire State Building. You know, how many units would I have to cover? I would have to cover 1,330 units. Last one. Sam has 59, negative 59. Tina has negative 77. Cam has negative 23. Order their bank accounts from least to greatest. And again, number line. Such a good tool. Here's 0, just because I want it over there. I don't need the positives, so I don't need space for the positives. So let's locate negative 23. Well, if that's negative 0, negative 1 is right here, negative 2, and start counting. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 21, 22, negative 23, negative 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And again, I'm just showing it by example. Somewhere over here would be negative 59. And I keep going, hit 60, 70, and there's my negative 77. And by drawing a number line, guess what? Your numbers already show up in order. And we want this from least to greatest. Well, the least is this one. All right? And this, out of the 3 negative numbers, the one that has the greatest value is this one. All right? But this is the least. Worse off. Would you rather have negative $77 in your account or negative 23? I would much rather have negative 23. They're both bad, but this definitely you owe less. So put in order from least to greatest. Well, it's already in least to greatest order. And that's that. Okay, so hopefully you get to review a little bit with that.